fire is free, and I here once occurred to me, I'd raise a kind of fire brigade, cried hearses money.
The late Victorian pantomime was a social family event, which for 50 years had increasingly reflected family values, with an emphasis on the fairy tale of the title rather than the knockabout slapstick of the harlequinade. As a social event, it was more middle class than the regular audiences of music hall, and often provided the first experience for young theatre-goers of a professional show, just as it does today. Pantomime remained hugely popular, and in the large, legitimate theatres such as Covent Garden and Drury Lane, they performed nightly between Boxing Day and Easter. Since Georgian times, audience tastes had changed. Victorian theatre-goers enjoyed lavish spectacle and feats of technical engineering rather than the hereditary knockabout skills of the pantomimists and the harlequinade. Although Dan Leno was renowned as the epitome of late Victorian pantomime, it's often overlooked that he was one of the first music hall artists to cross over to the more refined world of family Christmas entertainment. George Conquest, who was the first to employ Dan Leno as Dame in 1886 at the Royal Surrey Theatre, knew that he possessed all the necessary skills through his experience as a burlesque and musical comedy performer. He also realised that there was a vast, untapped audience for pantomime from the burgeoning music hall industry. The building of the palaces of variety at the end of the century meant that impresarios such as Edward Moss and Oswald Stoll were creating music hall-based megastars with immense crowd-pulling potential. In purely commercial terms, this was attractive to pantomime producers wishing to tempt new, large segments of the population from the working-class audiences of the halls to the pantomime, whilst at the same time providing the middle-class family pantomime audience with the opportunity to see the front-cloth star comics of the low-brow halls. Dan Leno's training as a travelling player, like that of Grimaldi before him, equipped him to play character, comedy, burlesque, dance, musical comedy, tragedy and all. He was the consummate performer, with a music hall fan base and the skills and experience to link the old with the new. Cross-dressing has a long and distinguished history in British popular and legitimate performance. Shakespearean drama regularly employs cross-dressing for comic effect, as does Commedia dell'arte, Molière and Mumming, but it was the use of Dan Leno, the renowned music hall star, and his successful portrayal of ordinary women which placed the dame role centre stage in the narrative of pantomime. Dan took the opportunity handed to him, and the dames he created have become the staple characters of what we call traditional pantomime: Widow Twankey, Dame Durden and Mother Goose. Dan was used to portraying women in burlesque, which was a style of drama that parodied ordinary women rather than impersonating them or performing what we would now call drag, like Lily Savage or Dame Edna Everage. Dan's dames were travesties of womanhood, whose tales of family woe and financial hardship were designed to make us feel sorry. Every member of a pantomime audience is still encouraged to cry "Ah" at the dame's domestic disasters. Dan's Dame was a realistic portrayal of struggle and humour embedded into the fictional plot of the whole pantomime. The Dame material was not directly transferred from his music hall routines, although the style of his relationship with the audience as confidant and equals remained the same. He created an archetypal figure for British popular entertainment, which is now a mainstay of any British popular comedy. Dan became exalted as the national clown, like Joey Grimaldi before him, and to a host of people, he was the essential expression of Christmas pantomime. In reality, Dan only performed in 16 pantomime roles, of which only 11 were as Dame. And yet, from Dan Leno onwards, British people have believed that the Dame, a man cross-dressed as a woman, is essential for a pantomime to be deemed traditional.